Hi to all those seeking vibrant health. It's Dr. Rachel Northern here at Johnsburg Chiropractic and Wellness Center, and I'm doing my monthly talk this month on the immune system. So the immune system and the dysfunction and gut health. So let's get started. So this is a little diagram just talking about all the things that affect our immune system. Our GI health affects our immune system, our diet, our lifestyle affects our immune system, how we take on stress or manage stress, allow stress to dictate our lives affects our immune system, and then also toxins, which, we just got done doing our detox purification diet talks. I have lots of those recorded, so if you want more on that information, go see the other videos, because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the toxic exposure, but some environmental exposures. So go to the past videos if you want more details on that. So, first off, the environment affects like just our mental stress, our physiological stress, like not just toxins like we were just talking about, but if it's emotionally a healthy environment, if it is loaded with tension, it's not good for your body as well. So also what kind of environment, like sleep environment, are you getting adequate sleep? Are you getting deep sleep? Are you getting like that rejuvenation sleep that you need? And not just sleep, but rest. I've had some videos I've talked about in the past about rest in general and all the different ways of rest. Taking vacations is one of them. Making sure we rest at least one day a week and having some downtime where we can just kind of just be and reset, not just sleeping. So those are things that are important for our body. Our diets today are awful and across the board in America. Our obesity rate is quadrupled, I believe, in this last 2 decades. If you just look at any of those demographics of how our obesity rates have gone up, if you see those like United States little graphs, and they show red as we go over a third of the state is obese, and more states are becoming heavier and heavier, more and more red across them of how heavy we are, and that's contributed to our awful, sad standard American diet. So, that doesn't help with this intestinal permeability or leaky gut, which we'll have a slide on that. And then we have like these stealth infections, these people that are just chronically sick, like they might get over it and then they're sick again a couple of weeks later, a couple months later. I've had, when I'm doing history with patients, they talk about, oh yeah, I get about a sinus infection at least twice a winter, or twice a year, or 4 times a year, or at least once a year. I know I'm going to get that sinus infection. So like doctor right away just knows to get that prescription ready because it's just part of my body. Well, I'm going to tell you that's not necessarily part of your body. It might be how your immune system is just not ready, primed, and healthy for it to battle all the things that are coming into you. So chronic infections, and we have inflammation, which is rampant in our society as well. We're going to talk more about inflammation next month. We're going to talk about arthritis and degeneration. So here's a couple questions for you. Have you experienced the following? Chronic reoccurring infections, which we were just talking about, colds, sinus infections, yeast infections, urinary tract infections. Do you have chronic allergies? Do you have rashes that just come on and you don't really understand why? Do you have reactions to food that you don't really know why? Do you have propensity to take a lot of medications to camouflage your symptoms or just to get you by? How is your sleep? Do you have sleep disturbances, have trouble sleeping? Especially in the last 3 years, I've had more and more people coming in to me with insomnia and waking up, if they do fall asleep, waking up in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 in the morning, sometimes 2 in the morning, having trouble going back to sleep, maybe go back to sleep for a couple hours. That's not good. So let's see what else we got. Cravings for sweets or salts, or both. I had one patient last week go, I want both. So just fatigued all the time. That's another common complaint I've had more recently. They're just tired. Chronic pain in their body. Digestive disorders, either constipation or loose stools, or related to IBS is rampant in our irritable bowels. So that's very common, rampant, like I said, in our country. Were you born via C-section? That's one way we were supposed to get some of our foundational probiotics and flora for our lives. Do you have a family history of autoimmune diseases? And when you think of autoimmune diseases, it's not, some people think about more of like RA, like rheumatoid arthritis, but those are sometimes our thyroid issues. Sometimes they could be other things tied to our immune system attacking itself. And why is it attacking itself? The body was meant to be healthy, and the intelligence in it usually knows not to attack itself. So if it is, why is that happening? So let's go to the next one. This is one reason why it's happening. So this is talking about, maybe you've heard that term, leaky gut. It's been around for like over a decade, probably more at this point. And what happens is, because of our sad diet and also prescription drug use, that starts to erode our natural healthy cells along our gut. Now our gut is very important. It's 80% of our lymph nodes. Part of our immune system is surrounded in our gut. It's like one of our first line defense for our immune system. So if we start to erode that because of different vitamins we have, or different medications we've been taking, just not actually, processed foods, preservatives, all that stuff, it starts to irritate. Or also on top of it, we're not putting all the good stuff in, our vitamin C or vitamin D, our natural nutrients and phytonutrients that are in our fruits and our vegetables, and our healthy meats, healthy omegas, fats that we need, all the healthy stuff we need to restore that balance. What happens is it gets these particles, these cells start to kind of not be a good line of defense, and we start to get big chunks of different things into our gut. When those are bigger chunks into our body and our bloodstream, that's where the body goes, I don't recognize you, and it starts to attack these things because they look like foreign invaders that they don't recognize. They don't recognize them as nutrients or as food, and then sometimes those mimic other cells of the body, that's like thyroid cells or other things, and then they think, oh, this is not good in our bloodstream, so that's where we start attacking other parts of our body, and it's just trying to help ourselves. So this is kind of where we're talking about negative food reactions, the allergies. So we got to compromise. We don't have enough here. We have increased of autoimmune when this happens. So what is the best diet? Like I was just learning to, tried and true, the low-carb Mediterranean diet is the one that's been proven to be really good. Also, to go above that, even trying to do avoid dairy or minimum of dairy. Try to avoid gluten. Those are refined carbs, especially here in America. Most of those gluten diets are genetically modified, so they're not even real food anymore. It's kind of Franken food. So a lot of those have been, same with corn. So trying to avoid those foods. Now I know I hear you across the internet right now and the cell phone services that it's really hard to find foods that don't have all these things in there. So that's, if you go back to just basic natural foods, if you're eating your carrots and your salads and your meats and your fish and your healthy proteins and your fruits and vegetables, they don't tend to have all those things in it. So it's just kind of going back to the basics, like what we're intended to eat, and just avoid the processed foods out completely. You're going to be in a good track. One other thing is the prebiotics and probiotics in our lifestyle. So prebiotics are the fiber, that's what we have in our fruits and vegetables that feed our good bacteria. That's what probiotics is good bacteria in that gut. When we looked at that slide there, the probiotics actually sit on top of the cells to protect those cells, and we're not getting enough of those into our diets anymore. of the good bacteria to protect us that work symbiotically with us. And actually, some of those bacteria actually produce some of our vitamins for us. So it's really important for us to take care of those guys. So, natural probiotics are in like fermented foods, kombucha. You have other ways you can get it. Most people think about yogurt. There is some yogurts that are dairy-free. You can try those for some probiotics. I tell people to try to make sure it has not just acidophilus and bifidobacillus in there, but like more those probiotics. Yes, you can supplement probiotics as well, but make sure you're getting a good company and it is what it says it is, and it's proven that they are actually live to help establish, because it doesn't make sense to take a supplement if they're not even really alive probiotics. So omega-3s, this is another thing that I'm pushing hard the last couple of years. Omega-3s is important for the lining of that gut, lining of our skin. We are, phospholipid layer, which means protein and fat. That's what our skin is made of. That's what the lining of our gut is made of. So it's really important that we get those healthy oils back in our body. Unfortunately, America, again, is deficient in our healthy omega-3s because we don't eat fish generally. I mean, maybe if you're Catholic and you get that Friday night fish fry in, but still then it's fried in unhealthy fats a lot of times, so it's counterbalancing some of that. So I am recommending to supplement some of those omega-3s. It don't necessarily need to be fats from fish, but it could be a flaxseed oil. Walnuts are really actually good with omega-3s as well. So there's other ways we can get the omega-3s, but you need to have at least 2 grams or 2,000 milligrams a day, if not more, of trying to maintain a healthy body and healthy cell turnover to protect us. And it also helps reduce the inflammation in our body. It's a natural anti-inflammatory, helps with the joints, helps with healthy membranes, like I was just saying. Also, and we've known this now before all the virus stuff came out a couple of years ago, that we are deficient. So I've been preaching about vitamin D deficiency over a decade plus, probably 15 years. I've been recommending vitamin D. So we are now saying we need at least 2,000 to 5,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. So even if you're out in the sun, 15 minutes of sun, we get some vitamin, producing some of that vitamin D naturally, but we are so deficient as Americans, again, that we still need to make sure we take our vitamin D. I usually tell people to kind of maybe reduce their supplementation during the summer months if they're outside a lot, but I still don't take it away completely. So vitamin D, does help strengthen those cells in the gut. Also, there's an array of other things vitamin D does in our body. Let me get you here. The next one. And stress, which I just alluded to. So we need stress. We need stress to survive and to thrive, because stress makes us stronger. But unfortunately, the kind of stress we are encountering nowadays is not the stress that makes us stronger. We are bombarded with emotional stress, mental health issues. We're bombarded with fears and anger and a lot of things that people aren't handling. And one way I recommend to help people handle with that is making sure, again, to rest, make sure you're getting that adequate sleep and rest, but also talking about meditation, taking time, just take a break, just quiet your mind, breathe. Now, I've had people talk about, I smoke. I smoke. That's my stress relief. And it's like, I think what part of that stimulates that is, to do that is you have to take a smoke break. It does make you step away from something. So if you can just step away from something without the cigarette and just take that 5-minute time, just kind of chill for a second, take some nice deep meditative breaths, you're probably going to get the same benefit without the cigarette. So unfortunately, most of us that don't smoke don't think about taking those breaks. I have a lot of people that work at desks that don't move. That's a stress in itself. So people are rusting out instead of wearing out in our society, and so we need that. When you're sitting there, that causes other stress. It causes stress on the pancreas because you're not burning your sugars up that you're eating and consuming. So that goes back to this blood sugar imbalance. So we have this array of blood sugar problems that put stress on the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are the ones that help us produce the adrenaline, that helps us, kind of when we're in stress mode, that's that energy boost that you get from the adrenaline. And also the adrenal glands help you with your sugar balance. So if you're not doing things and handling things healthy and moving properly and eating what you need to eat, those are constantly trying to yo-yo your insulin around and try to get you where you need to be. Also, sitting around, like I said, causes more inflammation. Like we know, that research came over, I think, a decade ago, that, sitting is the new smoking. If we sit more than 6+ hours a day, it's equivalent of like a half a pack of cigarettes a day. So we need to move our body, otherwise we get inflamed and it causes other issues as well. So that's on that slide. So traditional ways to deal with these problems in our body is, take drugs to treat the symptoms, but it doesn't address the cause. And there is medications and drugs that, yes, can get you to at least survive. As a holistic practitioner, we like people to thrive. So the one thing is to take drugs, and a lot of times that's just getting you by until it can't get you by anymore. And then they go into either surgery because the organ's dysfunctional. So like you have irritable bowel, they're saying, okay, now that portion of your gut's not working anymore. Now we have total breakdown. We have to go in and do take a big section of your intestine out, which then causes scar tissue, which causes possibly more surgeries. And I've had some patients go through this, and since I've been in practice. So this is something, if we take care of the intestines we have with the good things that we have, good things that we can provide us in nature and eat that, then you're gonna avoid some of these issues. Let's see here, wait and see. So that's another one, is wait and see until the disease manifests. So common thing is, I have patients come in, I'm fatigued. The doctor says, I think it's my thyroid. The doctor says my thyroid blood work looks fine. And, they wait about 10 more years, and then they go, oh, now your thyroid levels are bad. So now we'll give you medication for it. So again, as a holistic practitioner, we're going to look at that and go, okay, your body, we're listening to you, the thyroid stress. What can we do to support this thyroid? What kind of foods can we do? What kind of supplements? What kind of herbs can we give you to support that thyroid to bring it back into health? Because when it's at the disease state, that's pretty much, you're out of luck a lot of times. Like it's cashed, it's done. We can't revive it. Sometimes we can, but if we can get it when it's just on the verge, then we can maybe pull it back and rejuvenate that and get that help. So again, holistic treatment. So what I do as a chiropractor is I want to make sure that, I'm addressing that master control center. So, I just had a patient come in with stomach complaints, and her friend said, go see my chiropractor. And she said, that's weird. I don't have any back pain or neck pain. Why am I going to see the chiropractor? And she wanted to give it a try. Sure enough, I adjusted her, and we didn't even get into nutrition or any of the supplements. And just by adjusting her, because that mid back, that T5, T6 areas, like related to the stomach and pancreas and liver. And just by doing that adjustment, within like a week or two, she was not having any stomach issues anymore. And I didn't even do anything else. So just making sure that nerve in her back was communicating effectively to the organs is important. Also, the nervous system is the one that helps correlate your endocrine system. It helps correlate how your heart is beating. It helps correlate, like your hormones and lower bowel stuff. So it's really important to make sure that is up and running completely. And again, all I'm doing is restoring balance as a holistic practitioner. I'm trying to address where I find a problem, where I'm seeing dysfunction, even though there was no pain there was dysfunction there. And then I restored that balance. Also, holistically, we look at the diet. What could be your triggers? What's going on? I hand out food diaries all the time. I'm like, okay, let's see what you eat. And then everybody most of the time comes back and goes, it's been a bad week, Dr. Rachel. I'm like, okay, here's another one. And it's like, it was another bad week. No, it's a bad lifestyle. So it's accountability. Like, what are you putting in? What are you doing to yourself? One of my mentors used to say, people think they're like a hairy garbage can with a hairy lid garbage can. You just open it up and put whatever garbage is inside. And it's like, no, we're more complex. We need to make sure we take care of this vessel that is ours. Addressing as a holistic person, we try to address what's going on with stress. I literally just talked to a patient today, an older patient that's been working for 40 years doing a trade, and she's vibrant and she's great, but she's been coming in more often because she's been getting injured more often. And I kind of gently tried to tell her, you know what, maybe it's time to back down some of those hours of work. You've done your time, I know you love what you do, but maybe you need to start thinking about cutting back, because I don't think your body is now in the aging process can sustain the level of work that you did before. It's hard to hear. It's hard to tell people that. I've also had patients that have been hardcore exercise, people all their life, and it's hard for them to go down on weights. Now their body can't do the weights because they're hurting themselves because their muscle mass is less, and that's just part of the aging process. We can't reverse that. It is part of life, is that process. There is no garden of there's no fountain of youth. There's nothing that's gonna make you vibrant all the way in. I mean, don't get me wrong, we want to keep you as vibrant as possible and optimal as possible, but there is limitations of this body. So I had to kind of give her that little gentle, I think you're stressing yourself. You need to start considering reducing some things in your life to help your body be adaptable better. So sleep, like we already talked about, it's important, addressing that. That's sometimes I'll have people do sleep diaries. or recommend some supplements to help them sleep. A lot of times the sleep is related again to that stress. If you're stressed all the time, it's hard to key down at the end of the day. So trying to support people in the morning with their B complexes, support their cortisol management, and then that helps them sleep at the nighttime. Let's see what else. Also making sure that we do support the immune system in healthy ways. Colostrum one popular one that's been around more recently, and we've had really good success with restoring some of the gut health and some of the infantile we should have gotten as infants immune byproducts that we've just eroded away in our lifestyle and in our aging process. So restoring that's been helping a lot of people with autoimmune and other symptoms and problems and inflammation. So there's other herbs too. So what to do with this information? The immune system is very diverse. It's multifaceted. I cannot cover this in this long, like a talk, unless you want me to talk about every aspect of the body. But what is things you can do? If you really are concerned about your immune system, call us, get on the schedule, give us an appointment. That's the best way for me to evaluate, to see how we can assess you and see how we can direct you. Another way is, I do all these videos about all these different topics. So you can always, text us, call us. If you want to get on our email blast, every time I have a video, we try to send that out via email and whatever's going on in the office. Also, you can come join our Facebook group, which is Vibrant Family. How's it go? Vibrant Family Health, I believe, and Vibrant Family Health. And then we have also, all my videos are on my YouTube channel, which I'll have that slide with the information there. And you can subscribe to that, so anytime we load that video up, it should notify you that we got that. Also, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is covered in my book, which you can get on Amazon, A Journey to Vibrant Health. So let's see what we got. So here's my information right here. My website's www.doctorandU.ACCP, which is my pediatric and prenatal certification that I have. So thank you for joining me tonight. And also you can always try to text our phone number, 815-344-0113.